Hello, Selena from teas.com.au and Impero. So, this week we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a Q&A session. We got Amy, who was asking us recently about what is the flavor that we put into tea. This is actually quite a frequently asked question, so let's tackle it. Okay. Firstly, if you're thinking about fruit teas like, the strawberry patch and things like that, and you're thinking that it's just a bunch of fruit dried up and put together, you're incorrect. Nah, it's actually flavor added to it because just the dry fruit themselves are not going to give you that punchy flavor after you have diluted it many times with water. Just think about you just have 1 teaspoonful of this tea mixture, put into your teapot or your teacup or whatever, and then you pour in, 200 mils or so of hot water, a cup's worth of water in it. So you're diluting it many, many, many times. And so in order to still give you a decent taste, you do need a flavor added in most cases. So that's the first thing. Second thing is when it comes to flavor, the next question we tend to get a lot is it artificial? From the tea manufacturers we have talked to and some of the food flavoring companies that we have talked to as well, they said that artificial flavors are not actually allowed to put onto food. So what is left is basically two categories of flavors that are typically put into tea, and they are typically in liquid form, so you spray it or pour it in and then you mix it well and so on. So it's either natural or nature identical. Natural is pretty easy to understand. That's basically just imagine if it's apple juice and you just condense it to this very concentrated form. However, most flavors are not dense enough, not intense enough to actually do that. So what happens is there's this mimic substance added on, and that becomes your nature identical flavor. So going back to the apple example, apple flavor actually on its own is really light. So often they add this enhancer to it to actually bump it up. And there are a lot of misconception that because there is this added things to it, it's not that healthy. Now, I'm no scientist, but I do understand that like a lot of the alcohol-based flavors, they tend not to taste all that good. After you drink it, you just have this really funny flavor in your mouth. I get that. Versus some of the other flavors, like the ones that we have sourced, we have found them actually taste quite natural. And we do actually try to source as many natural flavor as possible. But going back to that example of apple flavor, often it's just simply not available on its own form, on its own natural form. Something has to help to actually enhance it, to bump it up. So in the world of food flavoring, most of the flavors are actually nature identical. Then you have a smaller percentage of them that is natural. They tend to be a lot more expensive. And then even a smaller percentage of them are organic. So when you go and pick up a box of organic lemon tea, for example, from anybody out there, chances are that is actually using natural flavor, not organic flavor. And that is totally legal. That's a crazy world we're living in. I personally find this somewhat deceptive because if you pick up a box of organic lemon tea, you naturally think the whole 100% of it is organic. But what people are saying is, nah, actually, I need 95%, the other 5% maybe the flavor. So it's something that not a lot of people are talking about, and of course there is a lot of vested interest in the industry. When we talk to tea suppliers, often they have the same point of view. They say, oh, it's legally allowed. You can put 5% of natural flavor in the organic tea, and we just think that's pretty crazy stuff. It's not really the common sense approach to it. So what we have ended up doing is we deliberately go and source organic flavors, and everyone's saying, golly, they are going to be super expensive, and it is. I mean, they're not cheap at all. But having said that, we feel this is really the sensible way to go. So if you see something like organic hazelnut cream or organic black chai and so on, those we have actually sourced organic flavors and we put it on. So there is this really sort of funny, gray zone with the flavors. Overall, you can certainly try using dry fruit like lemon peel and orange peel, but with most peel, they tend to also add a layer of bitterness to your tea, so it's not ideal to put a lot in. Berries, some of them actually got enough punch to itself, like whole berry that we use a fair bit. Sorry, I should call it, whole berry, it's okay. Not hawthorn berry, they're different. So the Chinese whole. And blueberry, nah, doesn't really work. Coconut itself, no, it even actually adds sort of like an oily film on top of your liquid, once you brew it. So not every fruit can be just simply dry up and then just put in. And if that does bother you, these added nature identical type of things, then don't use them. In our product details page, you will find the ingredient list. And in the ingredient list, if it says flavor, that chances are it means that it's nature identical. The reason why we put it that way is simply because some of the tea that we bring in is already flavored. Now, they said it's, past FDA regulations and, it's natural. But they cannot really define it for us. The supplier cannot really define it for us whether it is nature identical or natural. So we're taking a safe bet and we're just saying it's nature identical, or we just simply say flavor, which is legally allowed as well. You don't have to put down the whole shebang of it. But if it is natural flavor, and chances are it's actually something that we brought in, because now we know that it's definitely natural, we actually write down natural flavors for you. So hopefully this helped you to clarify some of the confusion in relation to flavors. And if you have any question, feel free to drop us a line. You know where to find us, teas.com.au. And if you do like this video and want to ask you a question for the next Q&A session, like the video and send us your question. I'll catch you next time.